Alrighty, welcome back. We're exactly where we left off on the last one, which we have applied the materials, non-destructive materials and process layers to everything. So we have a decent looking grenade base with very little hand painting. Now we're going to talk about gradients. People like to put gradients on everything. Almost every object should have a slight gradient because the in CG eyes actually adjust and expect things to get darker as they go down and a little bit sun-kissed up at the top. So really easy way to do gradients. Well, there's multiple ways. One way would be to add a fill layer. Let's just go here. And like we did earlier, let's just select red. Okay. Oh no, I'm sorry. Looks like we built in here. So let's add another layer. Let's go ahead and bring it out. There we go. And let's close this out. That's not what we want. This is what we want. Now that we have albedo, let's go ahead and choose red. Sorry, I created it and it dropped into one of these instead of making sure that it was out. That's what we're trying to do here. So now I'm going to right click, add a mask, add a black mask. All right, so what we can do here, there's a gradient tool up here. I've tried to use it a couple times. Sometimes it works, sometimes it crashes. There's also different gradients we can do in different layers, but I'm going to do the create a fill layer, add a black mask. If you come up to the checkerboard, a procedural layer, you can actually type in gradient, boom, and you can see our gradient comes in. From here, it's going to be a top-down gradient, and you're able to, without doing anything, just adjust the intensity to kind of see, do you want it to cover the whole thing? Do you want it to kind of fade out? Do you want the scale? How much do you want it to hit, and how much do you want it to blend? Good, let's keep it going. Intensity is a little, there we go, let's turn down that intensity. Bring that scale back a little bit. There we go. All right, nice and easy. So there we go. We now have a gradient. Okay, now it's red, so we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this light gradient. Okay, we'll come back into our fill layer. I'm going to come here and I'm just going to turn it white. Okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and right click. I'm going to duplicate this layer. Same thing, you can actually come in here and you can actually turn it back red, which is what I'm going to do just so we can see it. You don't have to. Come in clear, click the gradient layer within your mask. Now you can see here what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and flip this 180. Boom. Now we have now it's reversed, and you can do a rotation all the way around this. So you can be on the side, on the top, on the back, and you can front, back, and you can shift it. There's other ways of adding gradients here. You can do a directional map, and that's a way of doing a gradient as well. This is just a nice easy way to apply. All right, now we've done this, and I'm going to keep the dark on top of the white because the white is very powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and call this dark grad with a J. Apparently I can't spell, but that's okay. All right, now that I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and turn this. Let's turn it like a dark color, but not black. Perfect. I'm going to turn this opacity down. Since it's only the albedo, I don't need to unlink it because that's the only thing that's active here. I'm just going to turn it down to like 30. Let's see. Is that showing up? Yep. And then the white will come in here, and I'm going to turn this down to like 3. All right. White is very powerful. And then we can click it on and off, and you can see it's already affecting this much more than the black is, okay? The black is giving us a low. I might actually turn the black up just a little. Let's go to 35. Perfect. And that's how you apply gradients. Nice and simple, nice and easy. If you want to do a little bit more of a disrupting gradient, what you can do is add a folder. You can call it gradient mask. We can take both of these, put it in here. Right here, we can right click, add mask, add black mask, click procedurals, and we can put a Perlin noise in. There we go. And that basically is just going to add a breakup there. Okay. So that Perlin, you can see we turn the intensity up. You can see it coming through a little bit more. We can adjust the scale, make it a little noisy, a little less noisy, blurry. So that's going to give us the gradient, but it's going to kind of break up the mask just a little. You can see it kind of really coming in there, but we don't want that. We kind of just want a lot of that to come in. Let's do scale. No, let's go to good. We don't want it to be too much. Let's see what else we got in here. Contrast, sampling smooth, noise passes. Okay. And that's an easy way to do a quick Perlin noise on a mask. That way it's not a smooth gradient. That way it looks a little sun-kissed, but it gives you everything. So nice and easy. You can continue to adjust this from here. You can always add a blur, and we can basically blur this a little bit more, and that'll allow us to adjust how much of that is actually seeing. Do we want it to be hard or a little blurred? A little blurred, I think, is good. There we go. And now we have gradients. We have a little bit of breakup in that gradient. We are able to apply a dark and a light gradient. You can adjust it all in one if you'd like. I prefer to have individual control of them, and I prefer to have a little bit of a breakup. So now we have basically finished. We've talked about everything from coming in, setting up a texture project, to texturing, the difference between non-destructive and destructive. We've put everything together. We've done a very little hand painting. So if I wanted to, I'd go back in here and hand paint some to get a little bit of uniqueness in a non-destructive workflow so we can edit it later. But we were able to create this relatively quickly with very little hand painting, mostly procedurals, and get something that looks decent. This could technically be a game ready. I wouldn't want it to. I'd want to do a little bit more love on this, but as of right now, something that's this small, very quickly, without any actual like artistic talent. Basically, you're relying on the software, which is really cool. So I'm going to end this video. The next video we will talk about how to either adjust lighting. We'll talk about exporting the maps if you wanted to bring this into, let's say, like Unreal Engine or Unity or some other type of game engine or software like Maya or something, so you have the maps. And then we'll wrap it all up. Awesome. Thank you all for stopping by.